Hey guys, it's Cat Angel with Paranormal Pillow Talk. Tonight I have a dear friend, an amazing author who many refer to as the haunted author, and you will understand more. I have a dear friend, an amazing author, know about Anita's story. Her name is Anita Jo Intenzo, and she has authored 2 books. The first one, A State of Horror, and the second one, the blazing sequel, Dark Transference. Both of these books are amazing. I have links in the description bar. You can purchase them on Amazon. If you'd like an autographed copy, you can also order them directly from Anita, and she will autograph the book for you. And I will also put a link to where you can reach Anita that way. Now, I do want to start out, and I want to first of all say hello to Anita.
Good evening, Kat. Thank you so much for having me on your show. This really is a very special evening to share with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And you guys, I want you to know that as far as the static that you are hearing, that is coming from Anita's end. Why do I mention this? Because it is not her audio and microphone. Anita and I had conversations yesterday to test everything out, and this is what happens when Anita and I are on calls and when she's been on other shows. What kind of things have happened, Anita, during different shows, radio shows, things of that nature, when you start to try to do this?
Well, it seems when on my end I'm answering questions for an interview, there's interference, or actually there's been voices documented, usually with accents, and they are in a threatening mode to me because not liking the information I brought out in my books. This is what we've surmised, and it's not just random. It's happened on telephone interviews, on Skype interviews, and also when I've done the interviews with you. And it's a common thing, but it's nothing on the audio equipment. It seems like the spirits are taking the opportunity to make themselves known.
Yeah, and again, guys, this is a common occurrence. And it has happened, and you can look back on my past interview with Anita, and you will see where we've lost audio. We had to redial in Skype calls and all kinds of technical things. So again, when we talked the other day, audio perfectly fine. So the spirits probably know there's a couple of little things that we're going to talk about that they maybe aren't pleased with. But the second book came out, and it is an amazing hit. So if you have not read that book, you want to go and order that. Both of them are amazing. We're going to talk about this story and this personal haunting and all of the aspects of this. Well, we're going to touch on quite a few. I can't tell you everything in the book, because then that would give it all away. And I'm here to tell you, when I first read this book, I could not put it down. When I went back to reread it again this last week, and Amanda can tell you, I was like, Amanda, I can't talk right now, I'm reading. You know, like it was the first time all over again. So, amazing book, and it's an amazing story, and you're about to hear why. Let me do some shout outs to you guys, and I appreciate you guys coming to the show. I think you're going to be really excited about what we've got going on tonight. So, with that, let me see who we've got here in chat. By the way, the spirits absolutely have been hiding things all week, and I'll explain that towards the end of the show. They have currently hidden my mouse to my Mac computer, so they've hidden my remote, all kinds of fun. So, Chris Pyle, welcome to the show. LT Light Ghost, my friend David, Choctaw Girl, my good friend who was in town last week, Maria Amador, of course, Amanda Morant, who is over here working chat, Truth Paranormal Research and Investigations, Joe, thank you for coming. Welcome to the show. BPG Trick, Brian, welcome. Always happy to see you. Creo, Lady Spitfire. Who else do we have? I know it's early on the Pacific, so we're going to be catching some people watching the show after the live show. If you did not get a shout out and you would like to have one, please go ahead and leave your name below and I will give you a shout out. Let me log back up. Okay, awesome. All right, guys. The first thing, hey, Shelly K, welcome. It's so good to see you, my sparkly friend. It's always a pleasure to have you. And I know a lot of my fans of the show are really excited that I'm actually, especially the ones in the UK, that I'm actually doing the show this early so that it's not 3 in the morning when they watch. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, and Anita's not seen this either, we're going to do a series. There's going to be a series of 3 different things that I'm going to screen share and play for you. The first one is going to be a compilation of 2 clips that were taken from the interview that Anita and I did October 2nd, 2015. I can honestly say, without a doubt, that was captured live, unedited. The whole show ended up being like 3 hours. And as you guys know, my whole thing is to do things live, unedited. Meaning once you go past 2 hours on YouTube, you cannot edit it. You can download it and re-upload it, but then it will say re-uploaded. It'll show as an upload. And you'll see on my channel, everything's live. I like that aspect of catching things. So, this show that was done October 2nd, 2015, without a doubt, and Anita remembers this night very well, I know, we caught a full body apparition that happened live. So when I show you this clip, I had not been live streaming for too long, and it scared me, and it really rattled both of us because it was very intense. As far as what happened, we even had to end live stream early because of what happened. So now you hearing that noise? That noise wasn't there before. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and screen share and show this clip. Anita's not seen this clip since that interview. After the show, it will be on my channel. So the first part, you will read about that clip, and I want Anita to know that the style in which I did the intro it's just for Chris, because you'll see the relation to Star Wars. So I did that for you, Chris. All right. So let me go ahead and screen share. And I want to go full screen. And then let me minimize this. Okay. Here we go. You like that?
Love it.
You guys just read.
jeez.
Something, okay, wait, I'll have to stop and say this. Because something, Anita, I don't know if you've ever had this happen before. Something just sucked the entire air out of the room. I've hot nature. I have an air conditioner going here, a ceiling fan, and a fan because I get hot flashes. And all of a sudden, again, I'm starting to touch on some other things, and all of a sudden, everything got still around me. Have you ever experienced that? Where all of a sudden, hey, you had the cold thing happen.
Yeah.
But this was like there was no air moving around me. There was air blowing on me all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden something just sucked all of that out and replaced it with like, hey, why isn't the air? Y'all see my hair's not blowing right now. You see that? Hey, my hair was blowing.
Yeah.
All right, the fans are still on me.
It just
you see
took
that?
all the energy.
Now it is a little bit over here. It's stopped. Where did the air go? This is why I said this is live paranormal. This is literally live. And now it's really trying to manifest over there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Do you see that face? Okay, now I'm going to pause this for a second, you guys out there live. I'm going to rewind it a little, and I'm going to show you with my pointer. I want you to look up here by the Google watermark, and you're going to focus right there. While Anita and I were talking, and I wish that Google watermark was not right there where the G is, because the entity's face was right there. And you could see that it had overalls on, and that will be important during this interview. So I'm going to play that. I backed it up a little, and I'm going to play that again. I want you to focus up to the left part of the lace curtain up at the top.
Wow.
What happened? Why did that?
Wow.
Why is it going all the way back?
This is strange.
Look over there. Did you see that? Okay, that went right back to the beginning of the video. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see that? Okay. Let me rewind a little bit more. This is literally live. Okay, watch. And now it's really trying to manifest over there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Do you see that face? And it poked back out.
Wow. That's crazy.
Now continue to read for the second clip, guys.
Right. Yeah, they're doing a
anyone see that face right there?
Oh, God.
Whoa. Whoa. Guys, I'm pausing the video because what I have in my hand here is a flashlight. What you see right here are very odd, non-human fingerprints, 3 of them. Right here, you will watch as this face morphs. So be looking here. That's what I'm illuminating during that live show. Okay, no, Amanda, you need to look at the screen. I know you're on slower, but there is a face there that I swear is staring back at me. Am I losing my mind? Are you guys seeing this face? Okay, something on my computer.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, see that? Do you see that? Amanda, do you see that? Somebody please tell me that they see this. I'm shining the light right under the creepy. Look. It's got eyes. Okay, look at it. It's got hollow. Do you see that? It's like a skull, but that would, if I was going to be interdimensional, that's what I look like. Y'all see that, right? And it's switching. Look, it just turned its face.
It's morphing.
Oh my God. It just switched to a side profile of a female. Now it's looking straight at you. I am watching this thing change before my eyes. Are you seeing this? And now it's going away. Well, oh my God. Now. Okay. Okay, guys. All right. That was the first clip. All right. Now let me do stop sharing for a second. So reliving that, Anita, what did that feel like?
Well, it just validates. It validates the everyday type of crazy stuff we have at my house. I mean, it doesn't have any rhyme or reason, but when we've been on shows, it's the opportunity to really show itself. And those finger marks are very similar to what we have here. I've been on glass or have been on other like surfaces in the house. Those elongated fingers. That's what was shocking, how similar they were to what we've had here.
Give me just a second, Anita. For some reason, all of a sudden, my computer. Sure. Well, okay, now it's. Oh, this is weird. The computer is not allowing me to get back to where I was. Just don't say anything yet. Wow, look at this, Amanda. Look. That's crazy. I have no minimize.
No, it's not letting you do anything.
Okay, this is. It's not letting me do anything.
It made that noise.
It did make a weird noise. Okay, just a second. I can't. What? Through here. Whoa. Okay. Okay. Now we're back. Okay.
So
no,
weird.
I could no longer did my computer have a minimize button or anything. It just went away. Gone. And we heard a really weird noise too. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now you guys, I have the screen locked on Anita. You guys can see me in the bottom right. Okay. And So what you were saying, okay, and interestingly, where Anita's sitting right now is where this actually happened. Is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And in that, there goes my TV over there. It just went out. My TV just went out. It got really dark. It never does that. Okay. Yeah, a lot of the people that were at that show, they saw that live. And after that, the energy got so strong, we had to stop the stream.
Yeah.
We had on Anita's end a very strong storm that night. And what we had talked about and thought that was that due to the geomagnetic energy that was added with that storm, it created perfect. We had no clue that that was going to happen during that show, guys.
I know.
That it happened, and when I saw it, that's why clearly y'all heard my voice. I was like, "Are y'all?" That happened live. It was amazing. So, Anita, I do also want to point out, if you guys have not seen it, you can go on YouTube or you can go look on Destination, correct, America, for
for the Portal of Doom.
Yes.
That was Destination America's channel, and it should be. You can find it under the A Haunting show. It was season 7, episode 12 that aired December 28th, 2014. So if Destination America takes it off, sometimes the YouTube, you can find it through one of the TV channels or something that it's back on, like you'll see a recording.
And if not, you can look it up on YouTube and find it. And it's amazing. And okay. And Joe is saying something about needing a compress for my mic. It's not my mic, Joe. It's hers. And that static is coming through there. So it's just all kinds of, it's not my mic. It's over there with her. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about, well, I have to include part of a state of horror because there may be new people who have not, who don't know anything about it. So could you tell our audience a little bit about how you came to have the haunting? Tell us about your friend Paul and what started all of this, because you were a normal, everyday, single mom raising a son, a normal, regular life. You had not experienced anything of this nature prior to this. And go ahead and tell everyone how it all happened.
Well, it starts in 2009. My friend Paul, who was an anthropologist, he died suddenly of a heart attack. We have been friends for about 30 years and had a great love of ancient history and education and books and art, all kinds of things. He was a very smart person. And that was the thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, he passed away suddenly, and I was left to be the executor of his estate. The lawyer told me I was in charge of clearing out his house and going through on the will. And I hope people can hear me.
Yes, they can.
Okay. So it took. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, we had to go to his home and start clearing out his house because it was going to be sold, which was one of the stipulations in the will, and the money from the house sale would go to a charity of his choosing. So as my son and I started cleaning out his house, we didn't think much of anything. We were just so busy going through a hoarder's house. That was like the shocking thing, is to go in after he died and realized how much he collected. And those rooms and rooms just filled from the floor to the ceiling, pieces of artifacts and belongings. So we spent the next 10 months, and we had the most incredible experience there. We started having poltergeist activity. We started dealing with things disappearing and reappearing, interference with us trying to pack away just boxes of artifacts. We were getting that threats being made. At the beginning, it was seen to be kind of almost like mischievous or funny, that I felt that it was my friend trying to contact me because he had died so suddenly and didn't realize he had passed away. But then as the months proceeded, we started having other experiences with a much darker type of energy that actually threw my son to the ground while we were inside the house one day packing up things. And previously, 2 months before that, I was thrown to the ground outside, coming out of a small garden house that also had floor to ceiling with boxes that had to be cleared out. So what I decided to do after all this happened, after 10 months, we sold the house. We had contractors come in to gut the place, and it was revamped the house. I just decided, I said, I was keeping a diary. We started videotaping, started recording, because it just wasn't a one-time thing. It was every time we went into the house to clear out more things. And I have to tell you, I mean, Portal of Doom did a really good job to show the extensive collection and objects we had to clear out. But it actually made it look even neater than it was when the house was just, the basement especially, was just crammed with things that we had to clear out. And we just had so much to deal with, I'm trying to grieve for a friend, and I can't even do that because I'm so busy and focused on, I got to get this place cleared out, but it's a monumental task in front of me. So that's where A State of Horror comes in to document, and it goes through what we went through in the house, my son and I. And then he had friends come for the day just to help us carry out all the trash and just other things. And they also witnessed really crazy things being thrown across the room, shadow people, voices telling us to get out. We have a couple things up on YouTube of short snippets of some of the things that actually we caught right on tape. And I have to tell everybody, you have to understand when you're watching these YouTube videos, and I could also links to Kat that she can have them, or we can forward it to people. Things happen while we were just filming, just to document. We didn't even know anything would happen, but the things happened right in front of my son filming, like a cane, like a cane that was hanging on the end of a wardrobe closet down in the basement. And as he's near it, filming into the basement just to see if anything would happen, right next to him, the cane starts jumping up and down. And he doesn't even really, at that point, get really scared because we had so much we'd already seen, but he goes, okay, that cane just jumped. And it happened again. It happened twice. And these are some of the things that we documented. We try to keep a really cool head and not antagonize what was there. Some people said, why didn't you just leave and close the house up and let other people do it? They have to understand, I was the executor. Nobody was allowed in the house. My friend was very secretive about his belongings going to certain people. He was a very private person. I couldn't have a parade of people in the house because we did not know if they would get hurt with these things flying around the room. So we just had people that we knew we could trust. They would come for the day. And we've had one particular friend of Chris's, my son, came several times, but then finally he had enough. After one particular day, he was scared out of his wits and ran out of the house and said, I'm not coming back. He said, you can forget it. I'm not coming back here. So that's all documented in the first book, about what went on and the artifacts. And the second book, it crosses over the experiences. Go ahead, Kat.
Yeah. And if you guys, I will put the links in the description bar to Anita's channel. And you can find it if you look on YouTube. It is under Anita Jo Intenzo. But I will also include the links, and you will see these poltergeists happening while they're clearing the house out. which is what she's talking about. So it's pretty amazing, actually, to see all of this. Your camera just went off and on. To see it all happening live. So,
well, we were very naive about the spirit world. I've watched movies and enjoyed, a good scare or whatever, scary movies. But when you're actually in it and it's becoming almost annoying to you, or it's preventing you from what you have to do, so you get angry, you get annoyed, you're just frustrated, and you just don't know what's the end game here. Why is this happening? And we started to realize that the more that we cleared out the house, the more the activity ramped up against us, because something or some things did not want us to be taking all the things out of the house. They're very possessive of what was there. And when we moved the items, a lot was left to me in his will, more than people even realize. There's hundreds of boxes of artifacts and things he left me. And I just moved him into my house because it took 10 months. And as I said, I'm naive. I did not know things could come with boxes. I had an empty basement in my house, and I couldn't afford to put these things in storage because I didn't even know what was in the boxes. I just would look through, label it, and just wrap it up and try to get it out of there, because there was so much the months that we had to do. And I put them in my house, and never realizing a situation I was creating into my home, that once we closed the door on his property and left that, then it my house. So that's what second book comes in.
and that is what we're going to be. Anita, I have to tell you that Amberlyn, my daughter, she's on the other side of the house in her room, and she just texted Amanda from the other side of the house and said she was in her brother's bathroom just now, and she just had a hairbrush thrown at her.
Oh my gosh.
Now, keep in mind, okay, Amberlyn, you guys know this, Anita knows this, and I'll go into a little bit about this, touch on it tonight. Tomorrow night's show, you will not want to miss. Okay? Amberlyn has my abilities, okay? And I've taught her. She has been undergoing that process, much like Anita's son, Chris, who also has abilities. Okay, you cannot just turn them off because you want to. So, yeah, that, and I will explain later in the show as to what's going on with some of the stuff that's happened here and why it's happened recently. But that's for later. But I did want to tell you, Amberlyn probably said, really, and walked out of the room. She doesn't get freaked out because
that's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, you're going there. We've had it so much that we don't try to feed in the energy, and like they're just trying to get their attention, and we just figure, well, hi, how you doing?
Acknowledge. You don't give it fear. You don't give it the emotion it wants. You just kind of, oh, good job. Okay, great. And on you go. This is pretty much, pretty much how it goes. So, Amberlyn, and I'll explain why I think some of it is, well, Anita knows, because there is a very interesting connection. And I think that's why Amberlyn is experiencing some of these things. But I can't tell you about that yet. So, let's talk about dark transference. What a better time of year than the month of October, as Halloween approaches in brisk, cool air, and you can get a nice cup of coffee or hot chocolate, and you can dive into some very scary but true haunting experiences. This is not a book of fiction. This is real. You saw it on that clip, and that was just during my show. That's nothing compared to what her family has survived and lived through, and still currently does. So, As dark transference picks up, I have a few questions about, I'm kind of going through chapters and I've highlighted some areas of interest for me. And I want to ask you a little bit about them. Okay? In chapter 1, which is titled Out of Thin Air, Lori Hall is the psychic in the paranormal team. Is it Tri-County? What was the name of Lori's team?
Tri-County Paranormal. It's Tri-County Paranormal, and then there's a subdivision called Delco Ghost, which is and she founded it in the 1980s, before the interest in ghost hunting was not even that big a deal. So yeah, she was our investigator.
And she had come in, and if you guys, you will see on that episode and in the book, okay?
Yeah.
That in this first chapter, Lori kind of goes over that one of the fears that she had once they moved these items from Paul's house to Anita's basement. She states here about how several spirits that were attached to artifacts had come over to the home. And as Christmas rolled around, it had been several months since they had kind of gotten everything back to normal. And it talks about in this chapter that there was an incident right around Christmas where you were in your bathroom and there was a coin that was thrown at you. And it kind of looked like a old car wash token coin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then noticed that it had an area code that was no longer used in our country. And it happened to be, who did you relate that to when you saw that?
Oh, it was definitely my friend's family, belonging to one of them, because the area code for what that area was, it was a former resident area where they resided. So it was definitely coming from the family, from my friend's family.
Which is interesting, because we always find many times when our loved ones pass away or spirits are around, that's where that saying pennies from heaven comes from.
Mm-hmm.
I have experienced with my mom's passing certain denominations of coins, dimes in particular, being
me too.
And when it comes around her birthday, I'll be darned if I don't get one that has the year 1931, which was the year she was born. So
wow.
You out there watching, these sort of significant things are further amazing proof in my mind. I don't believe in coincidences. So when you start to see these dates of things that are falling out of the air in your home, you really start to tie these together, that they're trying to communicate with you. Then it talks about how you stepped into the hallway and something else also hit the ceramic wall, but harder. This time it was a Morgan silver dollar, and the year was 1914. And Anita had remembered from going through the family papers and death certificate that that was Paul's father who was born that year. So again, very interesting. And then as her son walked into the bathroom, he saw a tall black shadow dart into the bathroom. And Anita told him, "Look out." And his electric shaver and attachment started to go off and smashed against the opposite wall. They noticed a black shadow racing along the stairs to the bottom of the steps. Tell us a little bit about that without giving too much away, because there's more in the book about it.
Yeah, that was really very unexpected. It was After the coin incident, we had known that something was up because before that even happened, something else happened downstairs. Something got thrown against the front door. So that was downstairs. Then we came upstairs because this was Christmas Eve, getting ready to go to my parents' house for our the Italian 7-fish dinner type of thing. And we were upstairs trying to get ready, and these coins were hitting against the wall in the bathroom. I went into my room and, it's just trying to figure out, like, what is really going on here. And Chris said, well, look, I have to shave. So he went into the bathroom, and I just see a shadow is just following him, and it darts right in, and a split second after, his electric shaver goes flying out the room and hits a wall opposite the bathroom. And he was so upset because, he said, oh, they broke my shaver. He said, like, what's going on? And it's like, it came to a realization, like, okay, here we go again. Didn't we just finish with my friend's place, and now all over again? So.
Okay, now you've heard her explain a little bit about that. I'm going to read a couple more excerpts. Chapter 2, The Ghost of Christmas. Organizing boxes and looking for that alien, which we'll explain in a second, or whatever you call it, artifact. Possibly unsettled them. The words took her back to Paul's house the night of October 13th, 2009, when Chris and I first met Lori Hull and her team from Tri-County Paranormal, which included Claire and her husband Randy, who was a psychic medium. Randy then goes on, and he goes into a trance or into a state where he was channeling Paul. Correct, Anita?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to read to you guys, and this is on the episode of A Portal of Doom. Okay.
Yeah.
As they realized through the tone of voice that Anita recognized as her friend Paul, who was very articulate, very proper, you immediately recognized it to be him, did you not?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so they go on to ask, why are you here? And Paul says, I'm very upset with myself. We don't want you to be upset. Who's speaking? Lori asked. My name is Paul. Anita and Chris have asked us to be here. We want to help. We are sorry your life was cut short. We want to know why. There goes my TV off. I just want to note that when something happens, I don't know if you noticed it got really a little darker in here. My big screen TV with chat, boom, just went off. Just noting the paranormal activity as it happens. We don't want you to, okay, here we go. We want to know why you haven't moved into the light. I can't. I'm very upset. Is there a reason why you're upset and haven't moved on into the light? Lori asked. Unfinished business. There's an artifact that you took home. It's not of this world. Paul, can you describe it to Anita? Claire asked. It's like a stone. It's similar to pottery, but more like marble. Do you want Anita and Chris to find it? The artifact. It's in the wrong hands. They shouldn't have it. Not good for them. I have no idea what he's talking about, Chris said. Maybe I can draw it for you. Lori suddenly volunteered. I'm getting a picture of something. Do you guys have a piece of paper and pen? At that moment, a deep, unfamiliar voice was recorded on Chris's digital recorder, shouting a command. Don't draw it. It goes on to say, Anita, and they're thinking to themselves, and they say, I don't remember seeing anything like that. I'm not going to tell you what the rest says. You have to get the book to see exactly what was drawn. Okay, guys? Is there some kind of other world demon or evil spirit attached to one of the objects, Lori? It's something else. What do you want Anita and Claire to do, Lori asked Paul. It has to be buried. I didn't prepare myself. Paul sounded very annoyed with himself. I think they're confused, Claire said. It should have been buried with me. I told Lori and Claire that Paul had not been buried but had been cremated and his ashes spread over a mountaintop in Colorado. Do you want Anita and Chris to bury it someplace now, Claire asked. It should not fall into the wrong hands. It won't be good for them. It should be put back where I got it. Silence fell over the room. Okay. Where did you get it? Lori asked. Peru. Then Lori goes on to describe a few other things, which you're going to have to read in the book. But then Paul says this very scary thing. It has the ability to change shape at will. It's not a good thing to have in the house. And he had a lot of urgency in his voice. That doesn't sound like anything Native American to me, I said. It was not of this world, Paul insisted. What was it then? A meteorite or something? No, I think it's an alien artifact, guys, Lori stated, and she was dead serious. The battleground for possessions between the malicious dark and supernatural entities. That is what is considered now that Anita is living a paranormal life. So Anita, once you brought the items there and all of this activity started to happen, your life at your home, your peaceful home, then became somewhat of a battleground. How much, and if what, do you want to tell the audience about that battleground?
Well, it's a hard thing to realize when you feel safe in your home, and this is your place of refuge. And when that becomes upset, and you find that you have to look over your shoulder, or you are experiencing things that you have no control of in your own home, it's no longer your safe refuge. When we were cleaning out Paul's house, we could leave that place and come back to my house, and try to forget what happened, or try to get cleaned up and eat dinner and try to relax. You could separate yourself. But when it's in your actual home now, and it's coming over into your home, then you no longer have the safety or the sense of well-being or peacefulness. And that's what's happened. Having these trespassers, that we call them, that have come into the house along with the artifacts, that's been probably the most disturbing and I guess disappointing thing that has happened to me after I tried to do the right thing for my friend, be the executor, spend 10 months cleaning out the house and trying to get the artifacts or objects that they needed. Then the rest was left to me. It's a hard thing to know that you're left with the refuge, or someone else didn't take care of his business. So now I have to deal with his unfinished business and deal with the consequences. And then doing research and finding out objects, it's actually the evil or the energy attached to the objects that are unsettling the atmosphere and then actually threatening you and your family, which is something you're not bargaining for. You have no idea what you're signing up for. And it's the type of thing where I didn't know my house itself. I live in a house that's 70 years old, but it's on property that's older than that. It's from the 1800s. It dates back even to the 1700s. The first thing Laurie Hall told me that in the second book, when she came to my house after we experienced the poltergeist activity here, she said, you already had something in at your house already. Something's been here already. And I had no idea what she was talking about because my little castle. I mean, I blood, sweat, and tears to keep my house going after my divorce and raising my son by myself. When she said that, she said, you had docile or very dormant kinds of energies here because it's a very long, it's old property, it's old history, a lot of living and dying on this property. But when you brought these objects into your home that were trespassers and came with those objects, whatever was here, the intrusion. So that's why we call it a battleground, because it's a battle for what was already here, and they're very possessive of keeping what's going on over here, what they want, and then these other things that came with his objects that have no rights to be here, but they're not going, they've made a firm plan and stand here, and you've got back and forth going on all the time of good and bad.
Well,
so,
one of the things that Anita's talking about, some of this has to do with some interesting things that they came to find that regarded, and again, you have to read the second book to know everything about this. But it takes a very interesting historical turn that then ends up explaining why there's a very dark presence within the home, on top of what is attached to this, especially one particular artifact that is known to shapeshift, change shape, hide itself. And this has to do with the fact that Paul's father, well, can you tell them what it ended up that he had done in the early of his life?
Yeah, there's many facets to the story, and as you and I talk, Kat, like it's almost like having a tree with many branches. And the story, my main story is my friendship with Paul, and after he dies, trying to take care of everything I needed to do for the estate. And these branches keep coming out from the tree that from left field, you're not expecting to see these things or to confront it. When we were cleaning out the house, we found some things that belonged to my friend's father that were kept hidden. And apparently, I did not know. I mean, my friend's family were from Germany, and they came to this country in 1949, and my friend was born here in 1953. Apparently, his father was a member of the SS of Nazis. And that we found a booklet under the rug when we were cleaning out furniture out of one of the bedrooms, and it had been hidden under the carpet for God knows how long, but it was a black booklet with the Nazi swastika, the spread eagle in Boston gold. And when I found that, I literally was shaking because I had no idea his father had been in the service. I mean, I knew these people, I knew his parents, and they always treated me very nicely, and I knew them for a long time. But I only had heard that his father had been in the Navy, and I didn't even really place it to say, well, it was at World War I, World War II, because his father was older than my friend. He was an older gentleman, and when he had my friend, and his wife had my friend when he was born. So I didn't really put anything together. I didn't surmise anything. But now things started making sense about how many times he and his family went down to South America and Mexico, the trips they took, finding this thing under the rug, then coming across other things that were directly other. Some of it was older things that went to the brother, like an iron crosses, because his family had served in World War I also. But the aspect of this booklet, I still wasn't sure what I had found. When my father, who also had been in World War II, had been in the Air Force, I brought it over to show them, and he took one look at it, and he told me, he goes, yeah, he said he was SS. And I said, well, how do you know that? I was totally not believing any of this. I go, oh, come on. he said, I'm just telling you, he said, be really careful. He said, I don't know what you're finding here. And then I received a phone call later from a former neighbor who lived out of state, knew the family pretty well. They had been neighbors for many years until she moved with her mom. But her mom, who was like in her early 90s, was also friends with her. And apparently they chatted many times. And this woman, she called me because I got a letter sent to me because I was executor and she had not known he passed away. So what I did was I told her the bad news, sent her a copy of the obituary and mass cards and all that type of thing. And she was calling me to thank me for sending these things and telling me how surprised and saddened she was with his passing. But we were talking about the family, and I said, well, I was very proud of his German heritage. I said, there's a lot of things that I'm packing up for the brother. And then out of the blue, she just says to me, well, Mr. So-and-so was SS, don't you? I go, no, I did not know that. And she says, well, it was like common knowledge, but was unspoken in the neighborhood. And at that point, I wasn't really sure what I was going to find after that. But it became a series of discoveries, research I did following that to find out for sure, what his involvement was. And there's a lot of things that we've uncovered, and very unsettling, very unexpected, but also makes some sense to why my friend and his family were they just kept a very low profile. And the father had a job that did not meet his skills. He had been an engineer in Germany, and he was doing a job for many years that wasn't anywhere near his, his job profile. He just kept his nose clean and just did what he was supposed to do, earned a living. And, I'm just finding out a lot of these things now, after these years. And it's what I've said in the book is you don't know people, what goes behind closed doors. No matter how long you know somebody, you really don't know what's the family secret. So unfortunately, it had to be me to find out these things because the brother wasn't allowed. There was bad blood between my friend and his brother. So they didn't have words for many years. He was totally left everything he was the younger brother, and his older brother wasn't supposed to get anything out of the estate. But I made sure I packed up quite a few boxes for him, did not want to cause bad blood. And I said right away, I said, look, your brother's dead. I hope you'll put these things to rest, and I'll just give you everything I find that belongs to your family. And unfortunately, a few things, some pictures, which I gave him right at the very beginning, I wish I had made copies because they could have verified a little bit more of the situation. But I didn't know at the time, this was many months into cleaning out the house that we discovered these things.
And so it came to pass to realize that due to his time with SS and the things clearly that a lot of us know were done by SS troopers, it seems that when these things were brought back, there were also some artifacts that belonged to Paul's father. And I'm not going to explain exactly what those are. It does explain in the book what they are. But they definitely are objects that would hold very, very serious paranormal energy. And when you read the book, you'll understand why. Now, it seems that Paul's father kind of wants to find a way to stay here on the earth plane because, well, let's just be real. Where he's going to go next is probably not the same place that you or I are going to go. So
very diplomatically put. Yeah.
And it seems that he brought a couple of his buddies that he was in the SS with along with him to the basement. So now we have Anita's beautiful Cape Cod home that sits on top of what used to be an 1800s farmhouse at one time. Now you have these wonderful, friendly spirits that have been residents of the property for a long time. You now have these artifacts, one of which is so strong in a possible alien connection that put into the wrong hands could do a lot of damage. Now you have a recipe for a perfect storm, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
And the things that go on within Anita's home in this second book will blow your mind. They will blow your mind. You will sit there and shake your head and go, no way.
Yeah, yeah.
Of all of the paranormal hauntings and stories and things that I've dealt with in my career as a paranormal investigator, I can honestly say, especially because of what happened during the show and several other things and conversations that I've had with Anita, the author of these amazing books, one of the most authentic paranormal haunting cases that I've ever seen.
Thank you, Kat, because you validate through your experiences. You're able to identify the types of things that are presented in the book and take them for what they are. This is not made up. I would have to have the most fantastic imagination to come up with. In some ways, some things are very mundane, but they're really extraordinary what they've been turned into or have manifested. And that's why we try to document the most unusual types of things going on. And also, I've written about 75, 76 blogs with it's Anita Jo Intenzo -haunted author blogspot.com. I mentioned the cat. I said that has a little bit more up to date since I've written the second book. Some of the things that have recently happened this past year, and you might find interesting, in some of these other blogs. Also, I get into what we've identified as some of the haunting manifestations, the different things, because there have been, you talk about audio. We've gotten EVPs. We have the shadow people. We've had physical attacks. I've been attacked here. We've had intervention by a deeply spiritual and wonderful person. That's a dear friend of ours, Bill Bean, who has come right out from the very beginning and said, this is authentic. Anita and her family are living through a nightmare. I identified because he was recognizing what had happened with him and his family growing up. And by getting certain people like yourself and other really very, very sweet and very kind people who've had me on their shows, it validates our story. It's not made up. I mean, I've written the truth to as best of my ability. I never intended to be a writer or an author. I was an artist. I was an art teacher, an artist. I'm a restoration artist. I deal with, antique things all the time. I never felt any kind of unease among, ancient things before, but definitely there's something that's using the artifacts that we brought, that is using that as an energy conduit and has caused portals in our home. That's why they call it the Portal of Doom on the haunting TV show, because what Kat was just saying, it's so powerful. Some of these things are punching holes, into another dimension, and not just what you think of spirits or ghosts, but other interdimensional beings. There's things that are not or never were human that I never realized that these things could exist, at the same time or come in, but they are opportunists. If you read the second book, you'll understand my son. He's been very greatly affected by his experiences at Paul's house. He has abilities, and what Kat mentioned about certain other people being attached to my friend's father, they also were officers in World War II. My son never even heard these people ever, but he had them come to him when he was sleeping, and they gave factual information that when we looked it up and didn't even know where we should be looking it up, everything just was correct that he wrote down. And it would just maybe be a couple of numbers, a name, and maybe a date or something, but everything he wrote down was like that person was just talking to him and giving him the information. And if he did not have these certain people come to him we would not been led in directions of research, that we would have been hitting a brick wall. But because of these names that we got, and they've been verified by the Simon Wiesenthal Center in California, I called them to verify who these people were. And yeah, it goes into a totally different direction. And as Kat said, you know, by reading these books, you're getting a different side of what be about. It's not just, you know, something being thrown across the room, which is one of the things, but it goes much on a deeper psychological level that is very frightening. It's, you know, people could say, well, I'm going to leave my house, I'm going to leave the property, but you don't understand. It's not so much with the property, it comes with you. Like, we are haunted. You know, we have been affected. We have been chosen, as Bill Bean says. You can't go seeking it out. He said people run into trouble, that when they're going to try to find this on purpose, he said, you're going to get yourself into a world of trouble because you don't know what you're dealing with. But he said, when things happen to you that you're chosen, things will manifest and things will be told to you why this is happening. And you pointed that out, Kat, that there's reasons for these things happening and why they're unfolding the way they are.
Hold on. I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Truly, people. And by the way, many people in chat, they've already ordered the books, both books, from Amazon, Kindle, and they're waiting.
Thank you.
And I just shared your website as well. Now, look, guys, what she was saying about not being able to make this up, okay? Look at the show that, and again, these will be, they're private right now, but I'm going to make them live after the show. I just didn't want to ruin the surprise, okay? That happened during an interview. That manifestation that happened behind her, where she sits now, happened live. In one of the chapters of the book, one of the things that Chris saw in his dreams had to do with a particular individual that actually had overalls on. Now, I realized because of the Google G ending up the watermark where it was, that wasn't there during the live stream.
That's right. That's right.
It 100%, you could see, I could see overalls. And it truly, then it went back out, and then it manifested behind the curtain. And I'm sure a bunch of people are like, ooh, I want to see. Don't wish that it'll come back behind her today, because then it'll really read. Okay. And again, a lot of the struggle with this was because she was writing the second book, and there were a lot of things they didn't want her to talk about. Now, reason for this portal has to do with this artifact. Now, one of the things that I picked up, and Anita and I have talked about this, and it was something that she had not ever shared with me, but we recently just spoke about this. I had always picked up that whatever this item was, it seemed to be like a homing device, like it had been left from something that had to do with alien intelligence, interdimensional being, something. And that it got taken from wherever it was supposed to be, and it's not happy about it. And it's a very powerful. And the thing is that Paul's father, who's trying to stay on the earth plane, seems to be utilizing this object because it gives him the power to stay here. Okay, and there's more about it in the book. Yeah. But when Bill Bean, who's a very well-known deliverance minister, you guys can go look him up. You will see he's been on many paranormal shows.
Oh yeah.
He's an amazing human being. He will come. He has to come on a regular basis because you can only put a Band-Aid on it. You can shut it down. You can reduce its power a little, but it's never truly gone because this object can reopen the portal not at will, but it kind of, when it gains enough energy, it can do so. Correct, Anita?
That's true. There's periods of time here that's pretty calm. Um, when Bill Bean has been here, and he has been here at least 5 times, it's almost like a booster shot that he's trying to keep things at bay, especially if they get very vicious, which was a pretty serious incident happened in January this past year. And you can read my latest blog. It talks about my son and I were both attacked. My son at his place of business and myself here. But Bill Beam was very concerned. He came up ASAP, and he said it gets stronger through, and every so often he has to do a deliverance exorcism to be able to get the place back to a normal way of living. But he just says, he said, no one knows what timeline. These things don't have a timeline, and they have an eternity, and we're trying to live our lives in our measured way, by a calendar or by a timepiece. But it's like we always have to be vigilant. My son and I are we're very spiritual in the belief that we know what is the right thing to do and not accept any of these ghost hunts. People want us to be, joining them on ghost hunts and other types of things, and we don't get into that. We have enough to deal with, and we don't try to exploit, like by having other groups come here. Laurie Hall with her group was pretty much the one group that we dealt with every single time, because this is not an entertainment venue. It's my home. It's my workplace, where I have my artwork and, trying to make, a living and try to just live a normal life, if you can call it normal. But it's the type of thing. I've actually had people come up to me and say, gee, I wish I lived in a haunted house. And I don't know where that's coming from, but I say to them, no, you don't wish you lived in a haunted house, because you see on a movie or TV show, there's always like an ending, and oh, okay, it ends, and this is real life, people. This doesn't ever really go away. There's no shut off switch like you can see in a TV show or a happy ending. I mean, we are living our lives and trying to live the right way, and in a way that is pleasing to our Creator. And these things that are opportunists, they say that we're the challenge. Bill Bean said they love when they could go after people that are trying to live a decent life, because he said it's very easy for them to go after people that are extremely addicted, that really don't have any self-esteem. They'll latch on to those people. And I'm not going to get into like psychology or things of addiction, but when you're addicted and you're very open to suggestion and negativity,
yes,
a challenge for them. But if you are a person who rejects what they're trying to intimidate or threaten you, then you're the challenge, because they know they're not scaring you away. And their whole idea is they want you to give up and to join them in this kind of a darker type of force. And there's no way we'll ever, give in or be, we're not going to be humbled by their threats, because that's what they are, they're threats. And if they try to harm us, which they can if physically they've been able to do a few times, but we believe we're protected. And I feel that my friend Paul has been a protector, a guardian for me, and has even said so in a chance that he had to come through. And we take one day at a time. But my books are really for people to understand that you don't have to be a person who always believed in this. You could be coming out from nowhere, and you just happen to get into a situation and not realize how far you're gotten into this. And it's just been an amazing journey, and one that I wanted to let people know that I was not believed by some family members, and I just didn't tell them anymore. I felt like I had no one to talk to. It was only my son and I and a few friends, but even friends were skeptical until they actually were in his home and saw it with their own eyes, and then they became believers. So, my job, Kat, and I'm sure you've been through this too, my job's not to make you a believer. It's for you to understand what we're living through. And it's not my job to convert people. to the paranormal. It's just that the paranormal can happen in the most innocent, and you, yeah, and you know, and just as simply, you're honoring a friend's request of, yeah, you're the executor. He's trusting you to deal with all these things, and I had no idea how much we were really, you know, dealing with. So it was, believe me, a challenge like I've never faced before. But at the same time, I wanted to honor that challenge to the best of my ability, and you know, and it took a lot. It took a lot. It took almost 2 years out of my life, and then writing about it while I'm writing one book, you're getting activity while you're writing a second book. So it's like you're being haunted while you're writing. It's like they don't want you to write this because they don't want it to be known,
Well,
like
you
who they really were.
it's funny because one of the ladies in chat, her name's Choctaw Girl Lori. She was in town last weekend to visit me, and I'm here to tell you, she stayed at a motel because she's like, Kat, I love you, but I'm in no way, shape, or form spending the night in your house.
Okay.
Like, people, she understood, you know, people think you might want that until you have it. Now, I have it, well, for a lot of reasons. A, I'm a psychic medium. Spirits that have crossed come to me. And then I collect. Everybody, Anita knows, and all you out there that watch my show know the things I collect. In the latter part of the show, I'll explain even more about that. And I have a lot of activity. But you'd be surprised how many people do not want to spend the night anywhere near me. Because when you get something hurled at you and it hits you, okay, Amberlynn, just on the other side of the house, had a brush thrown at her. It's like, really?
Well, I've had clients come to my house to pick up, like I restore antique dolls and restore photographs and things, and they've had coins thrown against the wall, and you know they left and didn't come back. Like they said, well, let me pick up my work and I'm paying you, and then the next time is like, no, I'm not coming back. So maybe you could do it digitally. You could send it by email what you need me to restore as far as a photograph. But yeah, I've lost business. I mean, I have people who you know, get really creeped out by the whole story. I have a doll collection, so people are creeped out by, you know, as I'm looking at your really sweet doll in the little cabinet back there. That's kind of like some of the things I have, but also the extensiveness of Paul's collection really floored me, because I knew he traveled all around the world and he did many lectures on ancient history, but I was just shocked by just the sheer number of things he collected. So it was.
And that's, I mean, that in and of itself, and you guys know this, and this is what I was referring to, okay? It's like I feel Paul's, and I told Anita this, if I'd have been independently wealthy, I would have been an archaeologist, 1000%. But I collect a lot of very weird things. You know, I collect last rites boxes and many other artifacts, dolls, anything with paranormal energy. Cat Angel is seeking it and trying to find it. Okay. But that being said, when you take a collection from an anthropologist who has gone to Egypt and to the Yucatan and to Peru, to all of these places, you can rest assured those things are going to have energy attached to them. Now imagine that you have 100 boxes of artifacts and you put them in your basement, i.e. he does, and then you have resident spirits. Well, guess what? Honey, you want home. Yeah.
It's a grand old, they're having a party. Having a party.
Now, one of the things that relates to, and this is on page 109 of Dark Transference. This book, keeping in mind people watching, was not written prior to October 2nd, 2015. When
That's
that
right.
three-fingered print on my TV showed up, I had no idea what the meaning of that was. But here on page 109, I'll read from the book. Upon a mirror, there was a palm print and 3 sets of fingertips. With one, like a child, there were abnormally wider space between the fingertips and a palm with no thumbs. These were not human. We also could actually see ridges of fingerprints in several of these marks, but some were the best prints that we've seen were on glass surfaces, which is interesting because my TV was a glass surface.
Mm-hmm.
And Anita later told me after that show that the almost the exact same type of alien-like non-human fingerprints were on her mirror in her bathroom, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And it's, guys, don't go to the fiction section. What you will read will, it will, well, I read it at night, but I like creepy things. So, you know, you might want to read it in the light, though. I'm just going to.
With the lights on. Read it with the, that's my suggestion.
Yeah, you might want to. And when you start to understand about in the book, in the Germany connection and so forth, you'll really begin to understand the scope of what they're dealing with. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read a little bit to you from chapter 29. And Anita knows why. I line. Chapter 29 of The Portal of Doom. I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit. Okay. Our media exposure led us to one particular association with Heather Krellin, Kat of Southern Angels Paranormal, located in Texas. Kat is a highly gifted photographer, entrepreneur, and psychic medium, and invited Chris and me to be on her internet show. We accepted, and our appearance was scheduled for the following weekend. Kat wanted to review my story with me before the show, so I spoke to her using my cell phone. During our conversation, we realized we had live EVPs coming through. It was scary and incredible. There was a constant interruption and strange noises, sporadic static, which I want to note is happening tonight. That's not the book. I'm just making a note. There was a man that came through telling Anita, stop talking. A woman was heard yelling, and then there was a sound similar to a cat meowing or a baby crying. Then we heard a dog barking and an old-fashioned phone ringing in the background. In between the interference, I mentioned in conversation how Chris's dreams of dead people were affecting him. One dream in particular about a woman named Marie Louise Jean in an organization called the White Rose. I said to Anita, wait a minute, did you just say the White Rose? She said, yeah, have you heard of it? I said, oh God, yes, of course I have. Now I know how y'all are going to have to get the book to read the rest of my little chapter, but one of my dear friends, Celeste Levesque, co-authored with Jim Mars, which I want to just say, may he rest in peace. Yeah. My good friend Jim Mars, who was author of the JFK assassination book that was made into a movie by Oliver Stone, who wrote Alien Agenda and many, many other books, co-authored with my friend Celeste, who was the maid of honor in my wedding to both of my kids' father. He was the father-daughter dance for me. He rode in our limo, and he was an amazing man, author, and realist. And he's dearly missed. Celeste wrote a book called The Sisterhood of the Rhodes. Now, The Sisterhood of the Rose, although had to be coined as fiction, and Anita understands a lot about, hey, fiction versus reality. You have to have a lot of things when you class something as nonfiction. But they were regarding her past life memories of her last reincarnated life. And while I was speaking to Anita, I had to bring up something that was coming to me psychically very strongly. Because of some of the things that you'll read about in this book that her son Chris got, and they again had no way of knowing my experience with a friend that I'd had since I was in my 30s, okay, who had written this book. It had to do with some very prominent historical figures in Nazi Germany. And it is my belief, and Anita and I are going to be talking about and exploring this a little more in the future, that there's a very distinct possibility both she and her son very possibly, shall we say, were reincarnated. And in that life, they were part of that Nazi Germany. When you read the book, it will very much tie those pieces together. And it is my belief, and Anita knows this, that this one particular famous person, and you can go and look this up, but you're going to have to read the book to know about all of the association, was a particular woman named Sophie, and the other person was her brother Hans. Linda, could you turn that thing back on? Now that I'm talking about this, of course, I'm going to have a hot flash. This happens every time I get to this part of the story. I believe there's a very high. Just turn it once. I believe that there is a good chance that Anita very well may be, or could have been, that historical individual. And with that, I want to say, can you tell us a little bit about, clearly, this object has not been found, correct?
That's true, Kat. The last we've tried to figure some things out. We've known that it's probably changed shape since it was at Paul's house and when it came here. Randy, who was the psychic medium that helped us out at Paul's house, has been here, and his impression was that it changed shape so it would hide again and not be the shape that Laurie Hall had originally drawn, and saying this is what it might look like. It didn't want that to be found in that shape. So we have no idea exactly, where we're dealing with things in the basement, but there is a section of the basement that's stronger in energy that we haven't tackled yet. Some of the things, boxes I'm going through with objects, I know that they have some energy, but Laurie was able to go with meters and went over a lot of books of the boxes, and so did Bill. And he feel that there was threats coming from a lot of the boxes, but there's other areas where there was stronger energy that we don't want to fool around with right now. But we're going through things right now and trying to disperse some of his collection, and that we don't know what it might happen as we continue. It's an ongoing thing all the time, the story.
So it would be safe to say that the story doesn't end here, because
no, it came to certain conclusions that would, I think, put to rest some things people were wondering from the first book, but by no means is there's an end. That we are continually figuring things out, and things happen, and since I wrote the second book, so I'm not sure what kind of context we might put this in. Chris, my son, is writing a third book that is part of a series, but he's taking his own personal point of view, his own reactions and experiences after he left here in 2012 after he got married, and some of his experiences he had with his wife after he left here. So he, a manuscript, he's getting a book together, and he's telling me some things that he never talked to me before about, and I'm really like very surprised that he kept some of these things from me, because he said you have enough to deal with where you are, worry you, but he's doing a third book. And also know if there could be another book even for me to write of the continuing story. I mean, believe me, if we have a very big breakthrough, this particular object or other things that we need to do, it could mean another book that would be in the future.
And so, guys, that is in again, and now I'm going to segue into the other part of what I want to talk about that I think is really exciting, and I know a lot of you out there will too. Okay, and Anita's not seen this either, because this is another compilation, and this is where it can get really exciting for you guys. Okay. First of all, these boxes of artifacts, all right, and I want to explain to you guys why what I believe. Keeping in mind, most people that know me, and Anita knows this, as a paranormal investigator, and through my entire life, being into all things paranormal, alien, weird things, energy work, crystal skulls, everything from the time I was old enough to have my first experience with paranormal. I, more importantly, over the last 8 years, have studied objects that have residual paranormal energy, particularly things, you guys know I have a lot of dolls, I have a lot of artifacts and things that cause a lot of paranormal activity within and around my home. It is my belief that there are things that, depending on where they were and what happened around them, it's almost as if, okay, like in Anita's basement and around these artifacts, they have been living, they have been gaining little bits of energy from that haunting. Now, it's not that Anita in any way, shape, or form can say that everything that come from any of those artifacts are 100% haunted. But the likelihood that they have residual energy attached to them, in my opinion, and I've been studying this for 8 years, probably a pretty good chance. Now, there's another reason I say that, which is what tomorrow night's show is going to be about. I have come and have been studying artifacts from the Portal of Doom that I got from Anita. And I'm not going to show them to you tonight. That's going to be for tomorrow night's live show. But I can tell you that the things that have happened since these objects and artifacts have come into my home have been nothing short of astonishing. And that's saying a lot for me, because I have paranormal activity on a regular basis. So if you are somebody who is interested in owning something from the Portal of Doom and the artifacts that Paul collected, Anita is making available some of those artifacts available for sale to the general public. And I'm telling you, they are amazing. So with that, Anita, I'm going to show you the slideshow that I put together. I'm going to let it play in full first, okay? And then I'm going to go back and rewind it, and I'm going to pause on each thing and let you just touch a little bit about these artifacts, all right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you guys, I'm going to go to screen share mode, and then I'm going to put it over there, and I'm going to bring this up here. And these are some of the artifacts that are available for you to purchase. There are some that are not. There's a couple of items on here that aren't. But we'll talk about that after I show the video. Okay, Anita. So were you able to see that good?
Yes. Yeah, that was good. It was it's nice close-ups of the objects.
Right. And so I'm going to hit play, and then I'm going to pause on the objects. So tell us a little bit about this object.
Well, some of the objects are not as old. They're not ancient, but they are vintage. This is an Anasazi style vase that was made by Native American, and it's done in the same technique and fired in the way the Anasazi that inhabited the Southwest area of the United States. And on the bottom of this particular vase, it says it's a sunflower design, and it says it's Anasazi, and it gives like the name of the Native American artist who made this. Paul was very much a collector of Native American artifacts. He was a Mayan Indian expert, and thus so many times he went down to Yucatan, Guatemala, South America, but also he spent a great deal of time in the Southwest investigating an Indian burial ground in the area of southern Utah. So some of the things he collected either from tribesmen, some things he bought from other collections that were available, others he picked up in his travels. So that's what this is. This is more of like a souvenir item, but it's an actual recreation of a very ancient Anasazi vase.
But very vintage. And again, the thing is that these items have been within this home. And with each thing, there is a certificate of authenticity that Anita includes with an item that you get. So let's go to the next thing. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Well, this is actually a recreation of a either Mayan or Toltec deity. It's on a pedestal, and it's made of a crushed either jadeite or nephite kind of green stone. Like it's a cousin to jade, but it's made up with these tiny little mosaic stones that have been compressed into one of these molds that's probably taken from the original artifact, and it's used, and there's some type of a very strong epoxy binding, I guess, used in the green mosaic. It's a little greener than on this picture, but this is about 12, 13 inches tall. It's basically a decorative item, but most of the pieces that you're seeing, as far as I know, they are from when he was out west, and that's in the 1970s and early 80s. So if he did, or if he traveled down to Mexico, it would have been, most of these objects are from the 1970s and 80s, because after I think the 1980s or so, he didn't go down to Guatemala again. He was supposed to do his PhD, but was not able to because of the they couldn't guarantee safety of Americans to be in Guatemala at the time that he wanted to be there. But this is a very decorative piece. You see the front and the back, and it's just as I said, it's a replica of something that would have been an ancient artifact that they discovered in a tomb.
And it has some interesting glyphs on it. Okay, those
yes.
out to the right, and I'm gonna tomorrow night's show. I can't give away the secret for tomorrow night. I can't show you my objects, but I can tell you I've been learning quite a lot about glyphs, as Anita and I discussed. So this item, it is also one of my beliefs that when something is carved with a particular glyph, depending on what that glyph means, it breathes life into an item.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'll talk more about that tomorrow night, guys. Okay, so the next item, and this is just just touching on some of the ones that are available for you guys to own. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
well, this is a stone replica. This is very heavy. It's also it might have been originally what was carved from the original. It could have been an incense burner or tobacco, to burn tobacco, because it is hollow into the back. It has the ear piercing or spools, so it's a crouching figure. It can almost mean that the figure is in a state of worship to maybe a Mayan king, or he's in a very respectful pose, or it could be that he's a prisoner that was been taken by another tribe, and he's in a crouching pose of supplication. This is really a very beautifully done. It isn't, as I said, it's not ancient, but it is a vintage material, carved out of stone, and it's from Mexico. And these are the types of things that when I went to Paul's house, and his bedroom especially, his room was just wall-to-wall statues and figurines. I thought I was in a museum. And this is just the Mayan and Native American things we're showing, but there are boxes of from every culture you can imagine. That he just loved every type of culture, being an anthropologist. So this is something. This is I'm not sure of the height on this. I had it on the I can't see the height, but I think it's about 7 or 8 inches high. This item, and now this is just purely decorative. This is framed under glass. It is made on a shiny paper that's been, I think, hand painted, and it's the Mayan, or it's the Aztec calendar, that the famous stone Aztec calendar. And what people don't realize is that many of the things you see in Mexico on pyramids, on stelas, on different objects that they carve, they originally have been very decoratively painted, very much like what the ancient Egyptians also painted, beautifully decorated wall paintings. So this is someone's idea that this is a decorative piece, but this is just purely something he collected because he loved the imagery. I have a very large one like this, but it's made of metal that I'm hanging in my hallway, and it's also on the Aztec calendar.
Amazing. I do want to make a note for you guys watching. The statue that was being shown prior to that, there was an awful lot of static going on during her explanation of that. So to me, that indicates something. So if you guys like that little statue, I have a feeling That one has some strong stuff with it. So.
Yeah, it's got it has a very kind of unique face. I mean, my feeling is that it's a prisoner who is not going to be meeting a very good end. If you know anything about the Aztecs and the Mayans, what they did to their captives.
Yeah, yes, I do, and yes, it was. Yeah, yes. The next item coming up.
Oh yeah, this is a very nice piece. This is okay. We just lost it.
Yeah,
It just jumped. It wanted to jump. This is a terracotta piece of pottery. The figurine that you're seeing.
Wants to go back. Here we go.
That's a good.
Oh, it just there. That
Yeah,
one.
there you go. Yeah, this is also of the Mayan figurine. It's got some nice paint on it. It's terracotta. It's you can see inside there. It's been hollowed. It was really well done because when they fired it, there's no cracks. And by the way, any of the objects that you're seeing, they all are in really excellent shape because they've been packed away for a number of years and have not been displayed and out in the elements. But this is about like 12, 13 inches high, terracotta figurine, very decorative, vintage quality. He probably bought this when he was down in Mexico or the Yucatan, probably in the 70s. And yeah, it's just a nice decorative piece. And I mean, believe me, if you own the original one of these, you probably would be looking at maybe some problems because it should be in a museum. So
Right.
my friend didn't want to. He wasn't a great robber. He just wanted replicas of some of the things that was offered to him. He was not interested in acquiring artifacts that were illegal. Him being an anthropologist, he was actually part of trying to get where the things would stay, where they belonged, in the countries of origin, unless they were in a collection that had been already bought and sold. And then if a person is selling from their private collection, then there's no legal issues unless it's been documented that it was stolen at one point from the museum.
I want to note with this item, quite a lot of static going on during that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making a note for people watching back the live show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of static going on while you're explaining item. My personal opinion says something. So next item.
Yeah, this is a really very old piece. Now this is the real McCoy. This is adult rattle, deer skin.
I'm going to show you there.
And yeah, it's adult Paiute rattle. And this is the tag that's on there. Apparently, it was sold. Sometimes museums sell parts of their collection if they have a lot of duplicates. So apparently, this was from the Puchu collection, the Leua family, that it might have been in their possession. They sold it to the museum, and in turn, the museum, or having an exposition or a museum day where people can actually buy some of the artifacts. This is made of it's rabbit fur on there that looks like it's red trade cloth, also with some rawhide, and then it's on with I don't know what type of wood that is for the staff, but it is a rattle, and that is the deer skin that's been all the furs off of it, and it's opaque, and it has some type of beads or seed pods or something in there to make it rattle. And yeah, this is a pretty old piece. And the Paiute were throughout the Southwest. There's a southern and the northern Paiute tribe, and yeah, it's a pretty rare piece.
And
this is a nice piece.
This also would have been used in very highly spiritual things that go on within Native American Indian tribes. So I would piece not only being authentic, old, and used for what they were used for, is probably an item that just in and of itself would have a lot of spiritual energy attached to it. That's
definitely. Yeah, this is a really nice piece. I've never seen one this elaborate. It actually, the rattle It almost turns, the wooden part actually turns a little bit. So not only when you shake it, but you can actually twirl it around. It is beautifully beaded. There's some type of coarse hair. I'm thinking it might be horsehair that's been dyed at the top. There's just the little pieces hanging down. I'm not sure how old this is. I have to say one thing, like my friend collected so many things. Unfortunately, some things are not labeled. I've been doing the research on some of these things to make sure they are what I'm claiming they are. He just used to buy things and put them in containers, and then he'd use them in his lectures. But he probably knew what this, because he knew what it was. He probably didn't think he had to tell anybody, because he didn't expect that he was going to be selling it. So, that's the problem when you're doing it from someone else. You don't know what their original intentions were, that he never got around to finish labeling all these things. But yeah, this is Peyote Tribe, and it's a nice beaded rattle.
Beautiful, beautiful.
This is a very old piece. It's in it's also a rattle. It's only about 7 inches tall. It's from Brazil. It's from a Brazilian Indian tribe, and I don't read Portuguese, which is what's on the tag over there, because I don't know if any of you know, but I mean, most of the southern continent, Southern American, South American speak Spanish, but only in Brazil they speak Portuguese. So I don't know where he picked this up. This is really old. It looks like it might have been from a collection because of the tag on it. I'm not sure he ever did get to Brazil. I don't remember him ever mentioning that. He basically stayed pretty much in the Yucatan area of Guatemala and Peru areas and things like that down South America. But it's a really old rattle, and I'm sure, and it has some crude markings. I mean, it looks worn. It looks like it's really been well used.
And Anita, can tell you, okay, you guys are kind of lucky, because I almost snagged this one for myself. Okay. And I'm not going to tell you the item that I will be waiting on ever so patiently, but when you see it, it's going to be amazing. But because this was one of the things that jumped off the page at me, and again, you guys know I do have the ability to look at an object and read energy, okay? And I told Anita this, and I want to put this out there, and I've already told Anita I would do this, and this 100% because of my love of things that have energies and things of that nature. If you guys do choose to go and look and purchase something from Anita, and you do wish to come to me to do EVP or ghost box or spirit box or something with your item, I'm more than happy to do that completely free of charge. I want to do that. If anybody does want to or is interested in that, I'll offer that to you completely, because I adore Anita. And I think
thank you, Kat. That's so sweet of you. So generous.
And allowing some of these beautiful artifacts to go to some of you guys, I just think is amazing. So anyway, onwards and upwards. Okay, now this, for some reason, the way the picture was taken, it doesn't show the whole 12 inches, but it is a 12-inch Sacagawea doll.
Yeah, it's and again, my friend, he did many lectures on Plains Indian, Eastern, and tribes and all throughout the United States. So sometimes if he didn't have an actual, real doll made by the tribe, he was able to purchase something that struck his fancy. And this was a collectible doll that was made by one of either Hallmark or one of the other companies. And it's really adorable, because it's all done in the felt and the suede kind of material, the faux suede. She has a papoose, a little baby on her back, and it's all done with cloth, and it's just really attractive little souvenir doll. And he definitely used this to show the outfits that the woodland Indians, or the middle of the United States, Sacagawea, her tribe, and what she would be wearing. So it's a nice little piece, and it's just basically a collectible doll, but I just thought it was really cute, you know, to put this in. And like I said, it's not all doom and gloom, like, oh, I've got there's a knife in the collection that probably cut someone's head off or something. No, you know, believe me, I've got one of those knives, and I wonder if it did take a head off. I've got a obsidian knife that came from South America, but yeah, this is just a sweet doll. Like I don't think anybody would have any qualms if you want to own something like this.
Next one, again, this picture would not lay out long, but that was another. It just went by so fast you can see it.
That's a little Navajo doll made by the Navajo people. Little beadwork, made of cloth, and it's like an imitation hair, but she's got the little bun in the back, and she has a velveteen shirt and then a little cloth printed skirt. It's my fault, Kat, because I realized what you were doing on the dimensions. I should have turned it the other way when I was sending you the pictures, but he'll be a little Navajo doll that he bought on the reservations.
Those will be up on that. Well, guys, so you'll be able to see those full pictures as well. I'll also post them within Southern Angels Paranormal Facebook group. Photo album and put them in there too with a link to a State of Horror auction.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a page I set up because there's other things that'll be parked there. Kat was so generous with her time in doing this slideshow, which I didn't even think of doing. But yeah, it's believe me, there's going to be a lot of things going to be up for display and then for sale, because I just literally in my lifetime I would have to be 3-4 people to own all the things that he left. And I just feel that instead of them being packed away and people not really seeing them, because I have my own collections, my own things, and there's only so much that maybe I want to keep, I want to share with other people too, because he loved teaching people about the native cultures and I attended many of his lectures in the local areas when he did that. And he just was a wonderful educator. He loved kids when they were engaged to see the Indian artifacts, and one of his favorite he used to do around Halloween was on Egyptian mummies. I went to one of his lectures. It was hysterical that he took a funny little things with it, but he had some amazing Egyptian stuff that he showed the crowd. And this was his favorite time of year, so it's only appropriate that we talk about the books and the objects, because he left me, I don't know how many paper mache pumpkins and other Halloween decorations that I have that I also have to go through. But yeah, he loved Halloween, and he just loved different holidays and Christmas too. Maybe because of the German emphasis, how much the Germans celebrate Christmas, but he loved Christmas too.
All right, here we go. And this one.
Oh yeah, here's the Hopi Gourd Rattle. This is an actual hollowed gourd, and it's filled with seeds that makes noise when you shake it. It is finished with beads and rawhide and feathers and white rabbit fur. And then he would have picked this up probably from southern Utah, where the Hopi Indians, or even in Arizona, where the Hopi, that's right, the Hopis are in Arizona. So, and I've been on the Hopi Indian reservation myself and have seen these types of gourd rattles in one of their Kachina dances. I was fortunate to go with a group from the Smithsonian Institute and got to see a real Kachina dance on one of the Hopi plateaus. They had like 3 mesas that they live on, and we went to one of the mesas and got to see one of their Kachina dances, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, this would be an amazing piece to have, guys.
Yeah, this is quite a nice piece.
Quite. All right. Again, this is another rattle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's very simply made, some kind of a hardwood. It's Iroquois, which would be our Eastern tribe. That's made of cow horn in the middle, that gray piece that you see. So that was actually taking a piece of horn, because you could see the curvature of it. So it looks like the top is more what would have been closer to the head, and then as you see it tapering where it would have been going up to a point, and that's been hollowed out, and then it's been fitted with the wood on either side and the handle, and it's a really nice piece. and it's signed by an Iroquois craftsman. So this is a newer piece, but it's still vintage because it's probably about 30 years old or more.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, now this is the close-up because it shows the artist who made this. I'm not quite sure exactly, you know, it's a hollow piece because I thought maybe at first it was a whistle or might have been, I don't think it was a blow dart gun. I hate to think it was a blow dart gun because it reminds me of Indiana Jones with the blow dart, but this is of you know, American Indian tribe. It's actually a hanging piece. It's got some type of metal. Well, I don't know if that's iron or it's not aluminum, but it's some kind of metal around the top piece. I don't know if that's horn that it's on, but it's all wood, feathers, beads, and it's weavings by Sue that he bought in Glendale, Arizona. So the next one shows you more of the piece, but I wanted to show a close-up of the tribe. I mean, of the, yeah, that's the full, yeah, it's 13 inches long, all highly decorated with pheasant feathers and you know, bead work, and it shows the little piece on the top that you can just hang it on a wall. So just a decorative, I call it a hollow instrument because I have no idea, you know, why it's made hollow, but maybe it was something and they turned it into a wall hanging. So I'm just guessing at this point on that, but it's pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, now this is a handmade piece. Has okay, these are all from Mexico anyway. This is a long wall hanging about, I think it's 24 or 36 inches long. Just pieces of felt and wool, and these are appliqued onto the beige background, and they're just glyphs or you know, just Aztec or Mayan symbols that would be just decorative, and it's a little hanging piece.
Right.
And these were unusual. These were packed away, and the frames, I think, but I'm not sure. I think his father, my friend's father, might have made these because he made me a couple little frames for my son when there was like we had something framed, and he made us the frames. They are decorative. They're hand painted birds, and they're on some type of a parchment. I don't know if it's hide. I don't think it's animal hide, but it's it might be tree bark. That it's been pounded because you could see it's like layers the back, but it's some kind of natural material that it's I think it might be tree bark, and these are painted. They're decorative stylized birds, and these are from Mexico.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, this is a very old piece. You could see from the back the all the I don't know if it's termite damage or what is in from this piece of wood, but this is not a very big piece. It's just a little placard, and he bought, and it's hand carved, and it just probably struck his fancy because he really loved the profile of the Mayan Indian, and just typical of what you would see even on the paintings that they would have done on the walls or on some of their pottery. You know, the decorative headpiece is probably a chieftain because you could see it's a bird, almost like a pelican on the top with the long, or a toucan bird, maybe a toucan with the long beak and on the long tail, and it's a headpiece made for the Mayan, and it's, I don't know what kind of wood it is. It's a dark wood. Probably native to Mexico. I'm not really up on all the woods here, but yeah, it's just a very decorative little piece to have.
And this will call see, look at that. Now, while
okay, yeah, this is a little doll, handmade doll. I'm thinking because of, you know, the outfit and her hair. You know, it might be Mexican, but I'm thinking right away it could be Guatemalan. And she's all cloth, handmade, little embroidery. You know, that's the way that they wear these little shift dresses in South America. And it's just something he picked up because it was a cultural item. So it's just a little.
I just saw a shadow figure go darting across my ceiling.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
In tomorrow night, they'll understand why.
Oh my gosh! Poor cat.
Oh no, not poor cat. This is like no. This is yes, Cat. You know, I dig it. I'm telling you, my paranormal
Well,
experience.
this is a decorative brass plate, just showing the typical drawings that they would do on Mayan and Aztec tombs, and it shows maybe the chief triumphing and smiting
I hate
his.
to, but the chief if he happened to win the ball game was what?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That ball. That's what that looks like. Maybe he's got. I don't know if that's a shield or he's got the ball. But
yeah.
They play that game.
The winner of that game, the captain would be beheaded and
beheaded. And that was an honor. That was the honor. Yeah. They love that. So yeah. But this is definitely someone smiting the other guy. Which is. They were very warlike people. People used to think the Mayan Indians were very peaceful, but boy, have they found some recent paintings in the last 10, 15 years, and they were not a peaceful tribe that we were made to believe. That it's just like the Aztecs that were very, they sacrificed the victims to the rain god and to the, the gods to appease them. And Mayans were up there with some of their war, very, very fierce battles that they must have been through.
I think this would be an amazing piece for someone to have, by the way.
Yeah, it's just a very decorative, very cool piece. And so yeah, this is our dream catcher, and this is all handmade, Indian made. That's all lamb's wool. If you know anything about the Navajo raise sheep, and they shear the wool, but that's all wool and feathers and beads, and I think there's some kind of rabbit skin on the back of the actual sphere part up on top, and so that's a very nice. That's about 2 feet long, yep. Very nice
and then
catcher.
Is the end of it, which says available to purchase at, and there you go, guys. So let me find you guys back again. Hold on. You guys ignore my iMovie project here. You guys, this was my first time making a movie with my Mac, so
you did really well. Thank you, Kat. I think you did a great job.
Well, thanks. It was an adventure. I very much enjoyed it, though. Very much. So there's the surprise, guys. The surprise was that you too can own something that came from the Portal of Doom. Cat Angel owns quite a few things that came from the Portal of Doom. And I'm going to be showing them to you live tomorrow night. And I'm here to tell you it's going to be off the hook paranormal. I'm going to be using SLS camera, EVP recordings. I'm going to be using Ovilus 5. All of the things that I have at my disposal, you will see tomorrow night. But you're going to have to wait till tomorrow to see them all. And I will share with you some of the more unnerving things that have happened since these items have arrived in my home. But again, I have all the links underneath this show to go and look at those items, and these videos that you just watched will be made public on this channel as soon as this show goes off. So you'll be able to look at them in depth. And Anita, when you get any of the rest of them pictured, if you want me to, send them to me, and I'll make another little mini movie, put it up, and send you a link, and people can watch it directly. And yeah, it's amazing, guys. Amazing.
That's great. But I just wanted to point out, Kat, if they have any problems with the books, I mean, you can go on just Kindle and Amazon. Both of the books are up in those formats, but you could go directly through astateofhorror.com, which is the first book, and then hauntedauthor.com. If you hit those, if you type that in, it'll take you right to the pages, which shows my book on my website. and you can then you can click the link. It'll take you right to Amazon also. But if anyone's interested in purchasing directly from me, my publisher just sent me, we're getting 25 books in for Dark Transference, and
autograph them.
so I'll have some that if anybody would like to purchase directly from me, you can PM me on my Facebook, Anita Jo Intenzo. Just let me know. We could do PayPal, and then I'll mail out the book to you, and I'll personally sign it for you. And you know, also for the State of Horror, I'm actually having to meet with a book person tomorrow from Books A Million, and they are interested in purchasing some of the books to be having at that bookstore. So I needed a few for samples, but we just placed the order, and we're getting more because I'm out of Dark Transference. I had ordered 100 just personally for me, and they're all gone, you know, besides people buying them online, you know. So but it's been a great opportunity that you are doing this for me, Kat, and it's taken me a long time to part with these things, but also I know it's time to do it because I need to, and you know, let other people have guardianship of some of these things. And there is a printed out, besides the certificate, which you will receive, there is a sort of a legal disclaimer. I don't claim to say these things are haunted. They're coming from a haunted location, from both his house and then my house. But if you know, but if they are haunted, I don't have any responsibility. You're on your own if you buy these. So that's all stated in a little legal disclaimer I'm going to send you to. So.
She's not kidding. I mean, let's be real. Annalyn just got a brush thrown at her in the other room as soon as we started. And one of the things I will tell you that happened, and I told Anita this picture of Jesus over here, that is a very vintage Catholic last rites box. Mm-hmm. Amanda and I were discussing this story and going over some points before tonight's show the other day. And I told Anita, that thing flew off the wall, opened up, and all of the contents, boom, all over the bed. Okay? I'm talking strong activity. And that's the only sneak peek that I'm going to give you. So just be aware, you very well, you know, will get some paranormal activity. Once it's in your home, it's yours.
It's yours. Enjoy.
And for the people in chat, really appreciate you coming out tonight and watching. And this show will be up on my Facebook page, Chris Pyle. And Anita, thank you so much, my beautiful friend, for doing this interview tonight and letting me be a part of this. I feel like it's been like a little archaeology mini dig all in of its own.
Well, Kat, thank you for the opportunity to be on your show, for your generous time that you did to do all those slideshows and presenting the other tidbits for people to see what really happened on the interview a few years ago. And, you know, as I said, if you want to read a story that I don't think has ever been presented in any of the shows I've ever seen on TV, and Kat also, you know, what she's investigated, you know, go ahead and purchase the books and read my journey. And it's one that continues. We're in a pretty good place, but we hope, you know, continue, stay calm, you know, but as we open up boxes and go through things, you know, we've hesitated until now to wonder, you know, what we were going to cause, but we need to do it. So it's a journey that continues, Kat, and thank you for going on the journey with me and being part of this. I appreciate it.
I enjoy it. And you guys order the books. They're amazing. And yeah, thanks to everyone who came out. And Anita, I appreciate your time. And I'm going to let you get back to enjoying your Friday night. And I'm going to talk to my fans a little bit more. But I'll go ahead and I'll let you go. And
thank you.
Much love to you. And I will talk to you next week sometime, my friend.
All right. Thank you again. And thanks to everybody that joined in the chat room. And God bless. Thank you again.
Thanks, Anita. Hey, guys. Oh, I need to Are you feeling some sort of energy? Because, dude, if y'all could see, well, how about you flip around this way? No, you look beautiful. Come on. Everyone's been asking to see your pretty little face. Come on over here, bestie boo. Bring your pillow over here. All right, guys. Good night, Brian. You fell asleep during my show?
I fall asleep.
I thought you just said you almost fell asleep.
No, I said, do I really have to?
My eyes are watering. Don't cry. She's gonna beat me, y'all. I'm telling you guys, you do not want to miss tomorrow night. The things that came to my home,
Show all of them.
they are intense. Okay. Yeah, they're intense. She's wearing a robe because it's freezing and I'm hot. And what the heck? Dude, it's actually a little bit early. I think I may go out tonight. What time is it? 9? Clubs don't get hopping until later. So, right? So, yeah. Tomorrow night, guys, you don't want to miss it. You do not want to miss it. I will be showing you, let's see, 5 artifacts, 6. Yeah. And I will share with you my studies of what they've done in my house. And it's going to be an amazing show. And that's what we're going to do, all the experiments and SLS and all the testing and all of it. It was going to be on after this finished, lady, but I felt like the energies, especially you saw what happened last time I interviewed Anita. I wasn't sure what was going to happen tonight. And I didn't want to push myself. So I broke it up into 2 nights. So again, I love you guys. Thank you for coming out tonight. And I'm going to say goodnight to y'all for now. And I hope you enjoyed the interview. And I hope you go order the book. I think that you will find that both of these books, they will give you some amazing reading of a real paranormal experience, a real haunted home, an amazing journey that her family has gone through. I, again, have yet to have seen as much evidence to corroborate, along with the show that I did where there was a full body apparition that appeared live, unedited, that I've seen in my history of investigating. So, thank you for coming, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night, and love y'all. Bye.